So hey guys, we're going to check a little tutorial about Python. So this is what we're going to do now. So we're going to use Flask, okay? But you first need to download Python. Let's download Python, install it. It's going to come with pip3 and do all that. It shouldn't be that hard, okay? You should already know how to install those and check them. So let's come back here to this folder, and let's move this a little bit. We're going to use this image for the CSS just to show you. So let's actually come back here and create let's git bash. After you install Python, it's going to come with pip3, okay, since this is the Python 3 we're using, okay, the latest version at this time. So let's say pip3 install. You will need to run this to install the pip-m module. So it's going to be pretty quick here because I already have it installed, and we're going to run pip-m since now it's installed shell that is going to create a new environment, a new virtual environment. You can see that it doesn't take that long. Okay, sometimes it does takes a few minutes, but it depends. So now we have this pip file, and we're going to run now an installation inside the shell. This is a virtual environment that will keep our modules inside this folder. Okay, so let's say pip-env. Now install. We're going to use Flask, that is a framework. Okay, so you can see that it's going to install Flask. It's going to create the pip file.log. Okay, you can see that it's not that it's pretty quick. And now we're going to create a new file here. Nope, not folder, but file. It's going to be called app.py because that is what it's going to be looking for. And we can actually come here and open it with code. It's going to open on my other screen, okay? And let's start. This is going to be I don't know, not that quick, but if you have any problem with this, just let me know and I will do a tutorial, but this should be pretty easy. Okay, let's start with the with what we have. This is the second time, no, the third time I try to record this, so let's try again. So let me show you the pip file. You can see the package we have installed and the version of Python, okay, we are using. So let's click app.py again. Let's get into this file and let's say from Flask we're going to import Flask. That is the module we installed. We need now to create a new instance. So let's say app Flask, and we give it a name. Okay, so this creates the new instance of the Flask application, and we need to run it. So we're going to say if name underscore equals main, then we add these two colons, or this colon, and actually here we run the application. So we're going to check if this is the main name, the main application, and we're going to run the application. But we need to do something here. We need to call the bug and set it to true because we want to see what we have in the console. Okay, the errors, so we can debug our application. So let's actually go here. Okay, let me So you can see now it created the pip file and launched the subshell, the environment. Okay, so if we want to close that, let's say exit, and it closes the environment. And if we want to again enable the environment, we're just going to say pipenv shell to call it again. Now we are running again the shell. Here you can install again other dependencies and all that using pipenv install and the name of your dependency. Now what we want to do is just run the application. So let's say Flask Run. It's going to open in localhost 5000. So let me move this and let me go back here and let's actually HTTP localhost 5000. You can see it says not found. We don't have anything to show. Okay, we don't have any routes or anything like that. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to have this standalone application. So let me click here and actually say we are going to need some templates that are going to be fragments of HTML, and we're going to need a new folder, not inside here but inside your route, that is going to be called static. Okay, so here if I'm going too fast, okay, just take your time, and if you have any doubt just let me know. Okay, so let's actually add some routes. How we can add some routes? We need to call this add sign app. This is kind of decorator, and we are going to call this route method. We're going to specify the name of the route we want to use, and below this, that this is a decorator, let's say index. So we define a function called index, and this function is going to return something. What we need to return, we need to return a template or some HTML. Okay, we can return data, a simple string. We actually need to come back here, close this and restart it. So you can see it's going to return this data. Okay, so let's move that away. But unless you are using, you're going to create an API or something, you will want to return some HTML. So I'm going to add two files right now. That the first one is going to be a layout.html, and the other one is going to be our index.html. Okay, so instead of returning just a simple string, we're going to return some HTML. But we're going to allow only one method here. So this method is going to be an array with a method we want to allow only. So for this route, we're only going to allow the method get. Okay, and let's actually come back here to the layout. I'm going to copy, give me a second, my layout, a part of the layout. Okay, that this is just coming from, let's change this to Flask simple app. I know there's a extension that does this. I should have that installed, but I haven't, so we're just going to copy, and I'm going to just only copy what I want to show you right now. That is the HTML. Let's So we already have the head and the HTML done. Let's call body. Okay, and this is going to be the layout. The file that is going to wrap or other fragments of HTML. Okay, so in this case, let's add a main here. And in order to define what we want to use inside this, we need to add this curly brace and %sign and say what we want Python to add here inside this main. Okay, so we're going to call a block, and let's say that this block is going to have the name of content. So every block that has the name of content added on our fragments is going to be appended here. Okay, so let's say end block to finish this set. Okay, so everything that is that has the name of content is going to be inserted here. So okay, let's go to index and let's say we want to extend what we have. So let's say extends the name of the layout we want to extend, that in this case is the layout HTML. And since I told you whatever has the block the name content, no, is another, okay, whatever has the block name of content is going to be appended there. So let's say this next block is going to be called content. We also need to close this block, so let's say end block to close this block to tell him, okay, this is done and we don't want to add anything else. So this is where the block name content is going to end. So let's add the header here with an h1. Let's call a div, maybe. Let's cut that. Let's add it here. And let's say a simple Flask app. Let's save that. Okay, and this is still returning this data string. So let's actually come back here and let's call template rendered. Give me a second, please, so I have that correctly. Nope, sorry, it's kind of like that, but it's render template. Okay, so we need this render template and we need a request. Okay, all those imported from Flask. So why we need a request? Because we are, remember that we are filtering this and we're going to add another filter to check if only that is working. Okay, if only we're getting this. So let's say if request, the request that we are getting, you can see what we are getting here inside. Okay, that is our get request to this route. So if request that method, the method we are going to we're receiving is a get method, we're going to add those two columns, those column there, and we're going to say we're going to return something. But what we want to return, we want to return our HTML. Okay, now remember that the layout already has this block and this block is being added here. Okay, so whenever we add a file that extends the layout, we're going to receive all our other information. So we're going to say render the template. What we need to say here is that the template name that we want to render is the index.html. Since it already extends our layout. Okay, give me a second just to move this. Okay. And this should allow us to have our index.html there. So we need to come back here, close this, and Flask run again. It runs the server again. and you can see that we have our HTML. So this is how we are going to get, or how we are going to return our HTML. Okay. Now, I think I'm just going to add a simple another route with, yeah, so you can see how it works. I know this is pretty simple, but this is just you can add whatever you want here, even body. We're going to add another one, okay? But I didn't want the header to be shown on other parts of the application. So let's say not body, I'm stupid. Let's say section, and let's say a paragraph here. And let's actually go to lorem ipsum generator, generate this one, view toward wrap, and let's add, because this is let's add something like I don't know, details. I don't know, just to show you something. So okay, it doesn't get the changes. Let's close this and run this again, restart, and F5 to refresh, and you can see what we have here. So now what we need to do now is to add our CSS and our assets. Okay, let me close this. Let me remove that, and let's just focus right now on this one, and we're going to add a form layer. Okay, so for this, inside our static, we can add any folder we want, but the name static needs to be there. So let's say assets, and we want inside the static again a CSS folder. So the CSS folder is going to have a style.css, and our asset is going to be only for images and icons and things like that. So let's actually add inside our static assets the image. Okay, we have, and you can see that we have the style CSS here. So let's go back to the root of the application, and let's continue adding now the CSS. So first of all, let's go back to Google Fonts. Let's add a new font, why not? A font that I like is Poppins. Okay, let's add this. Let's get this, and let's come back here and add it. Nope, add it here. Okay, here we have the font, and let's add actually the file we need, that is the CSS. Okay, so let's add the link, the relationship that is going to be a style sheet, then the edge reference that we are going to leave blank right now, just an empty string, and let's close this. So now here we need to do something specific, that is going to have these two sets of curly braces. We need to add something that is the URL for. So Python is going to, Flask is going to look inside something. Inside what? Inside a folder called static. Okay, and this static is going to have something. What is going to have? It's going to have a file that is inside the CSS folder, and it's called style.css. Okay, so that is how we are going to add our other assets or other files, including the CSS. The name of the folder, the file name, that is actually the path of the file. So let's save this, Let's come back here. Let's click Ctrl C and restart the server again. Let's move that away. Okay. It changes because I think we don't have anything here. As I said, this shouldn't be okay. It was on the cache. Okay, it was stored in the cache. The other CSS I added. So now let's actually add something here. So body background padding 0 pixels, margin 0 pixels. Okay, let's add actually the font family that is going to be Poppins. You can add it right here, just Poppins, or you can also say Poppins without this. This should work. Let's refresh. Okay, it doesn't make the changes, and now clearing the cache, Control F5 is going to give us the changes. Okay, so let's actually come back here and add some little things inside our header. That let me check something. I only added this here inside a div, is header, and let's actually add the image that we have. So let's say the background is going to be a URL, and the URL is going to be these assets. Okay, and you can see it's going to give us that. Let's say that is going to be centered, and the background size is going to be 100%. And let's see how it looks. Control F5. You can see that it's adding the image. So let's actually come back here and take a few minutes. Let's say header, the div inside that h1 is going to have a margin of 0 pixels. So that should fix the yep, that fixes that. So let's say, I think it's too big, right? It seems like it's too big. So let's say no, let's keep that like that. Okay, so now let's say height, oh no, 400 pixels. Is that too much? Yeah, doesn't look that bad. We're going to add another route below. So okay, and let's say that this is going to be center align text, text align, sorry, center, Control F5, it centers that. Let's add a padding top 200. Okay, it adds the padding on top of this, and I think that should be it for our main. Let's add some styling right now for our main. That is going to be with, I don't know, 70%, just to give you something. A margin is going to have 0 auto to be centered, and you can see now it's adding or styling. Okay. Of course, because the main is added inside the header has the main, but let's keep it like that. Let's even say that it's going to have 90%. Control F5. Okay, so we have something basic here. We have some text, and you can see that we are getting now the HTML working with some styling coming from the CSS, the style.css. Okay, you can play with that later and all that. Now let's say up that route in order to add another route. This is not going to have any other authentication, or it's just if you want that, let me know and I will keep working with this one and add a Firebase, or I don't know, something else maybe next week. But I will use these files again, okay, this application, so you can continue with it instead of creating another one. Now let's say that we have something called add post, okay, that is going to be another route. So this route is going to allow two methods. One is going to be the get method and the other one is going to be the post method. You can also say it's going to add the put method or the delete method. Okay, you can do that just the same. So let's define here. No, what did I? Okay, let's define here a new function called add post. Okay, and we're going to say if the request method, if I can type, is equal to get, we're going to return the template that we don't have right now at post.html. Okay, and you should be able to call else, or no, give me a second, we're going to change this for post because the other thing is going to return only the render template that the default is get. So let's say add post.html, and let's say we're going to pass something here that is the data we have. Okay, but right now we don't have it, so let's not add it. So yeah, the post is going to return right now the template, and the get is going to return right now only the template again. Okay, so let's go to templates and add post that. Okay, I didn't add that. Add post.html. Let me just come here and copy the form. This is just a regular form, so remember that we need to extend. Let's actually type it again. Extends our layout.html. Okay, and what we're going to add here is another block, but now with again the name of content, because we want to keep that inside the main, and we're going to say end block. So this one, nope, let's not add that. This one is going to be a form. So let me copy this form. No, let's add it, because yeah, let's add it. Form. The form is going to have a method that is going to be a post method, and it's going to have an action that the action is going to refer to what we have in the route here for the post, that it is at post. So let's say at post. Okay, now we are going to just add this h2 that says create a new post, and we can add here, let's call a div with the class form control. Now this form control is going to have a label, and for the title of the post is going to be the title, and here we are going to have an input that's going to be type text. Okay, the default is going to, you can also remove this and the default is text, but let's add that so you can see. The name is going to be title, and let's say placeholder post title. So let's actually see how this is. Okay, but we want to add something else. Let's add a navigation. Okay, so let's say includes. Yes, I think it's, yeah, includes. And let's add now a file called, because this is the nav HTML underscore nav HTML, because it's just a fragment. This is only this little fragment that we're going to add a nav. This nav is going to have two URLs. Okay, one is for the name, logo, or whatever, href. So this is Flask Run, let's call it that. It's going to take us to the root of the application. Let's call another URL, and let's say list a href. Forgot to add that, and let's close that A. And this one is going to take us to add post, and this one is going to go to add post. Okay, so in order to add this inside our index, we need to include it, not our index or layout, we need to include it using, we want to include it here. So we do the same. This is jinja or jinja. Okay. So we include the file using the include, and the name of the file, that the name is the path. Okay, so this is inside include nav.html. Let's save that. Let's come back here, close this and restart. And serving control internet error was unable to complete the request. Okay, where template.found, maybe because yep, includes. Sorry about that. Save and restart, and you can see that we have these two links. This one is taking us to add post. You can see either a service uploader or there's an error or on the application. The error is that the add post. Okay, let me come back here. Where am I? Okay. So this should return the, let me remove, but let me actually do this. If, no, let me remove all this, only to check if we are getting what we want. Close the server again, restart it, and nope. Add post is going to add post, and the route is add post. Give me a second, let me see. Methods are okay. Add post HTML. So let's say if request that method, maybe this is the problem, equals get. We're going to receive that. Ah, no, 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 I'm so fucking stupid. That's why we have the debug. So let me take that back again. This should already work. Okay. So there's something. Okay. Extends. So be sure to check the information you have there. Let's come back here. Okay, expected token end of a statement. Got post. And block. So it should be working. So let's go to app.py. So let's actually take this one and let's see if that is working or not. Okay, refresh this, add post. Okay, same. What did I do wrong? Methods, add post, return. So this is to be the problem. What it says? Oh, okay. Let's see. Let me take a look at this. Method post and action at post. Let me remove this in case that is a problem. Nope. Got a string. What did I do? Okay, so let me just remove this. Is there a problem with how that is nope. So the problem actually seems to be, the problem actually seems to be template syntax error unexpected character at 11. Okay, so this is odd. What the hell? Let me fucking click this. Okay, extends. So let me actually do something so I can see, because this one is working, so I can see if there's something wrong with that or the actual route. Okay, so there was something wrong with what I had here. Let me, oh yes. So let me come back here, and I forgot to add the other so I forgot to close the tags, not the tags, the quotes. Okay, so you can see how we have this. Okay, so now it's working. Sorry about that. Just a little error that So you can see now inside the app.py, let's come back again. So this should also work. So let's refresh this. Let's come back all the way here and add post. So the first call is always going to be the get. Okay, so we can only define the return here, and that's good. We are good to go. But we want to return the information we have, so we're going to finish this one. So let me copy this. That is the other part of the form that I added. No, it's this one. Let's close this, the styling, the layout, and the index, and let's keep the add post. And let's add the rest, that is just the input submit with the value create, and the text area with the name content. So let's close this, and let's run Flask again, refresh, and we have this. Okay, so in order to get what we have here inside our route, we need to do the next. So let me change this, and let's actually give me just a second, since I'm checking something right here on my other screen. Okay, let's continue. So you can see we're keeping the indentation, so be sure to keep the indentation correct. And there's something we can say, let's say print. This should print us the request we are getting, and flush, I think it's true. And let's see. Run this back again. Let me move this one over there, and let's say first post. This is the content. Great. Okay, you can see we have this request object with the post request. Okay, this is the type the method is using, but we can actually go inside that a little further. So let's say request form, because we have a form object inside that. And let me move this back again, and let's actually come back here, refresh. No, sorry, I do have to close this and start it again. Cancel. It's going to be no, I don't want that. Okay, so let's start again. So second post, this is the content. Let's see, create. Okay, you can see that we have this immutable dictionary, that is an array kinda, with the title, that is the second post, and the content, that is this is the content. So we add again third post. This is the third post. We hit create again, it refreshes the page, and we can see we have again now the title, the third post, and the content. So these actually are the keys. Okay, so those keys are coming from the name of our inputs. So we need to give the name in order to get that on the backend. Okay, so let's actually come back here and work with those. Let's keep the print there, and let's say we're going to create something called let's say content equals to request form, and we have something there that is called title, well, not title, content. And let's add it here, title. We have also something form named title. So we can grab those two values here. In case we have a file, we can add a file there. Maybe I will do something in a bit or tomorrow with files, okay? But I have another more complex code review coming with Flask and MySQL and file uploads that you will see how it can get complicated. Yeah, it's a lot of code, so you will see. And that should be next week. Okay, so let's continue with this. So we already have this, and let's say data, and I think we can create an object that is going to be equals data or title equals no, sorry, this is an object that is going to be title. We have the content that is going to be the content. So now, lol, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to remove those. So now we can pass here something called data with the with data. Okay. So let's come back here and say if call a div. This should work. If data and let's say and if let's say data, give me a second, this should be only like this, something like Angular data that title and a paragraph data that content. So this should work. We should be able to return that. So let's Control C, Flask Run, continue. You can see that we are now going to get the third post. So if we say second post again, something interesting. Okay, we get a second post and something interesting. That's how you are going to get the information. So we're passing this data object inside this data. Okay, you can call it whatever. So this data is actually coming from this. Okay, and you can get it using, I will. This is something like Angular, okay, and other frameworks. But since I have a lot of information, a lot of code reviews, and I'm planning to create tutorials about Angular. So I might use more that, I will compare it more with Angular because of this double curly braces and things like that. So this is something more. This is something like double binding, okay, kinda. So this data is coming from this data that is stored inside this data. Okay, so let's say object. So now we can change this from that to object so you don't get confused. Object and object. Continue. So No, we actually need to run this again. Let's say control F5, yeah, continue. Okay, let's say second was updated, create, and you can see we're getting this. So we have two routes here, okay? And you can manage the get request that is going to add this create new post form, and the post request that is going to actually create and give us what we are receiving from the from our form. Okay, so I think that's it. I'm going to leave it there. So this should allow you to understand how to create these basic applications. So this is more for the beginners that kind of don't get how this work, how Flask works. So yeah, if you want to print something, you just need to say print whatever you want to print, and the flush true. Okay. If you want to comment out something, just add the hash sign over there, and remember that the first method that is going to be checked is the get method. Okay, so you can actually only check for the post and just return something for the get method that is going to be called by default. Okay, so we included the navigation file, we added the CSS, we used the assets, we created this little backend server, the application, and we use the template and the request to manage simple requests using Flask. So I think that is going to be it. If you have any questions and you want me to continue with this using Parbase, maybe tomorrow I will add something about file updates, file uploads, sorry. Maybe, I'm not sure. So let me know about any doubt you have, comment, and see you on the next one.